Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sahabat Radio IMSA, we are now here in Muktamar IMSA MISG 2018 in Hotel Hilton, Parsippany, New Jersey. And we have our youth committee program here in the Radio IMSA studio. Maybe we can start from your name and where you from?
My name is Zahir Swartone. I'm from Arizona.
Dimas Sawardi from DC.
Nadira Wichaksana from Raleigh, North Carolina.
I'm Zahra Hanifa from Savoy, Illinois.
I'm Kiana Antoni and I'm from Gaithersburg, Maryland.
I'm Kayla Risky from Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay, now our committee program for youth right now is running by youth itself, and I think first we want to ask Mr. Dimas, are you a student or you working?
I work full-time now.
You work full-time?
Yeah.
And how do you balance the work and preparation for this event?
Well, it's really hard because when you work 9 to 5, when you come home, you just want to go to sleep or eat dinner, and then that's it. So having our late night meetings at 9 o'clock is really hard. But I think the dedication and the passion from the committee is, what keeps us going. And just we want to make sure that the youth have a good program. We want to make sure that we keep growing every single year to make sure that it's the best program. And I think so that motivates me to stay up late and to work on this. So.
And I think maybe for what's your name again? Sorry, Zahra. You are from Illinois, right? Yeah. And what is the concept for youth program this year that maybe distinguish between this year and the previous year?
So, in tune with the overall Muktamar theme about empowering our youth, right? What we wanted to do was more interactivity and interacting like with each other and learning from each other, and then also getting things to take away from the program rather than just sitting in lectures, because you can learn from lectures, but it's also, we found it more beneficial to have more hands-on events where they can actually learn from each other, like the debate we did last night. And then we're also going to do like packaging for donation later today, so things like that.
Okay, thank you so much. And I think for Nadira, so this year, do you think we have still more lecture or more activities? What do you think?
I think compared to previous years, we have more activities. I think we have an even balance of like lecture and activity, which I think is needed in this sort of program. It's a little like easy to get caught up in like, doing more of one or the other, but I think we have struck a pretty good balance this year.
Okay. And I think for Kiana, do you see any, or maybe do you have any, do you heard any feedback from the participant, from the youth participant about the program this year?
So far, no one has directly spoken to me and talked about it, but we can tell, like in the activities, that they do seem a lot more engaged. They feel like they can speak their mind more, especially to their peers, and they feel like their input has like meaning instead of just sitting in on a lecture and like listening and taking it all in. They feel like they can give back, and they're part of the program also.
And maybe now you are also the first time helping the youth program committee, right? Anything that you want to express, or maybe the experience that you have during the helping the committee program?
I never really realized what going on the back of like all this, because I've been in Muktamar for like 5 years and I never was a part of the committee, and I never really knew what goes behind the scene. So it was kind of cool to see like what actually happens in the back.
For you, this is the first time, or the first time for the Muktamar?
First
And
time.
what is the experience that you have for Muktamar?
Similar to Kyla, like getting to understand how things work behind it and all the preparation that we all go through. Even though I don't understand it as much as them, I feel like I definitely learned a lot.
You definitely
Yeah.
have. And I think most of you are following Muktamar since you are very young age, right? And any what you call it, any thing that you say like you can say that the progress that comparing to the past, like anything that you think very different?
I think in past years it's been very well, up until about a few years ago, it was run by the adults of the of IMSA and the whole entire organization. I think it's only been really recently that the youth have started to take over, especially since we're growing up. So it's grown from something that has been like really like kind of like low key. And something that wasn't really youth oriented, but since the youth have taken over it, I think we know what the youth are expecting because we grew up in that program too. So we really wanted to tailor it toward, just when we were that age, like what did we want to see? And that was really the whole idea behind this.
I think for Zahra, any plan that you think, or maybe any suggestion or any improvement that you think we can still add it into the program for next year event or maybe the future event, because now we are glad that to see our own youth that running the program, because usually it's always run by the parent, and I think in some cases maybe the youth or maybe the kids that used to come to Muktamar, and after they are grown up, they are gone. They never even want to come to Muktamar. So any suggestion or any idea that how to keep the youth that grown up to become an adult and still want to engage to the this Muktamar event, or maybe even involved in the preparation of this kind of program?
So, especially because I'm 20 right now, which is like a kind of a weird age because I'm not going to be in the youth lectures necessarily, but also some of the general sessions are a little geared towards like a lot of the ones today are about parenting and like how to have good relationships with your kids. So a lot of us are in this weird middle where we can't really go to youth, but we can't really go to the general session. But I think IMSA's already making steps to kind of accommodate for that. Like tomorrow we have Yamu Shabab, so which is piloting, and so we can see like that they are providing programs for young adults and young professionals. So they are trying to accommodate for that age range, and also like with the upcoming Navigator program for just like professionalism and also networking, just providing spaces and resources for that age range is really good, because I know in previous years for sure there's been kind of a fallout just because we're in a weird place where we don't really know where we can go. But I think this year especially we're seeing that they are trying to make like spaces for us and things for us to do.
Maybe can pass to Kiana.
So I definitely think this year there's a wide variety of speakers for the youth, especially because we did call a good amount of outside speakers, and I think that's always good, because sometimes when it's just like Indonesian or Malaysian speakers that the youth are close to, it's more of like a friend talking, which is always good, but sometimes like you really have to like lay down the law, and outside speakers can give like a good different insight into like Islam. And so I think they're really enjoying the outside speakers, and they are really good speakers. We did look into a lot of good speakers, so I definitely think it's beneficial for the youth this year.
Okay, I think one last question for Dimas. What do you think the bilingual speaker or the like native English speaker that you think that which one is the more preferred by the youth here?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that there's some value to having Indonesian speakers speak to the youth, but I think what we find is very successful is whenever there's speakers who can relate to the youth on an experience that they can relate to. So if they grew up here, if they understand the American culture and how that relates to their Muslim identity, I think that is what is most beneficial for them to hear from. But I do understand that there is importance to them to also get that perspective from the Indonesian speakers as well.
Okay, I think thank you so much to the youth program committee that already working hard to make this event successful, and I hope they keep supporting and doing this kind of program for the future muktamar. And again, thank you so much for the Youth Program Committee, and see you again in the next Serba Serbi Muktamar. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.